Welcome to another episode of Beyond Coaching. I got I think our number one fan of the podcast and one of my favorite players I ever coached in well, maybe, probably top 10. I ever coached when I was coaching Cody Fuqua. Cody, good to see you. All right, Cody, tell us your athletic experiences and then what you're doing now.
Yeah. So, college and different places, but ended up getting up to Kansas City. I played at Mid American Nazarene. Coach Rob was um, kind of drew me up there. I played for him in a summer league one summer in upstate New York. Honestly, we had the time of our life and great experience. It
I
truly
remember you tried to. I remember you tried to steal home once on a pitcher from the stretch, and it didn't work out.
right
Anyways,
again. It was a blast. I mean, it was just one of those. I had
I had no
freedom.
control.
It felt like, you know. Um, but no, it truly was a great experience. But then got to Mid America, played for Coach Rob, and it was just awesome experience, and really got to. I just learned a lot about the game, learned a lot about myself, and credit that a lot to you. And that's kind of what I did there. And now I am currently a State Farm agent. I live outside of Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee. I own a State Farm agency, and it's kind of what I'm doing currently.
Yeah, and you've built that business from the ground up, right?
I have, yep. So
Yeah.
back in 2018 is when we started. So we're almost about to start year 8, and just from the ground up and just built it, and it's been fun.
Cool. Well, let's start in that summer in New York. So me and you were together. It was actually my first head coaching job, coaching the New York Collegiate Baseball League. You were just got out of your sophomore year of college, right?
Right, I was, yeah,
And I think not everybody. I can think of a few that probably didn't enjoy it, but it was a team that came together, played hard, really enjoyed each other, but we really stunk. Uh, talk about that experience and kind of what you learned on that, because I think that team played hard to the end, and I don't know if we won 10 games all summer.
right. I will say again, it was a bunch of guys. I feel like we were from obviously all over the country, and we, again, I mean, it was you and obviously just the coaching staff. And I think we just were allowed to play free and have fun. And yes, we wanted to win, but I also think for us, it was just we enjoyed ball. We enjoyed playing together. We enjoyed traveling around New York. And I think it was just one of those things that, like, just the atmospheres we got to play in, some places we got to play. We generally had a good time. Those are still guys that some I talk to on a continuous basis. Still, someone from that team, even more than my college teams. Like, we chat
Hmm.
and just catch up with them about life, and they're all over the place and stuff like that. One of the guys on the team, actually, Rainwater, he was our GM. He was in my wedding, and like, it was just one of those summers that I tell people I couldn't replace it. I mean, as much ball as I played, we had so much fun, and I think it was just the freedom we had to enjoy the time.
Yeah, yeah. We even had somebody that won the TV show Big Brother on that team, didn't we?
Right,
I
Hayden,
mean, we had
yes, that was
celebrities and everything.
truly. It was again the team made everything, so that's why it was just so fun.
Um, so let's dive in. Me and you text quite a bit on stuff like these kind of topics,
Yeah.
and you're building a business,
Mhm.
and it seems like one of the things you think a lot about that can be a challenge at times is cultivating an environment people want to stay in
Right,
and make them want to be the best version of themselves.
right.
Is that fair?
It's fair. I mean, that's what I feel like
Uh,
I do consistently. Yeah.
okay. So talk about the challenges you face there, and then I'm hoping we can draw it back to sports experience and that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to, I mean, I guess the best way to describe it is every single day and every single month and year for the past almost 8 years, right? Like, I've had great staff, and a big part of a small business, it comes from my staff, right? I've got to have really good staff. And I think the biggest thing I just always want to get from them is just like them to become the best version of themselves, right? And I think that was taught through me through sports, right? I mean, you had a big influence of that, and just other coaches that I have, like, how do you become the best version of yourself, right? And I think it's something that I feel like I'm always looking for ways to make my team better in that aspect, right? Whether it's coaching in office, whether it's giving them material to study outside the office, whether it's doing other things that they can be doing to we call owning their development, right? Because in this industry, in a lot of industries, it's kind of up to them, like how well they can do is how much work they put into something, and I think that's what I'm constantly trying to find ways to help them with. So,
So agreed. Here's something that came to my mind as you were talking, and coaches get frustrated that I work with because why do I care more than the players? And my response is it's part of their life. It is your life as a coach. And it's natural, I think, that a coach is going to care more about winning than 99% of the players. I think that probably translates to you as the business owner. So what are your strategies of they might not want to own it as much as you feel like they should.
sure.
So
Yeah.
how do you help them vision themselves in the future? Or yes, answer that, then I got to follow up.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think it's uncovering. Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's helping them uncover, um, what they're really good at, what they're really talented at. I mean, in our environment, it's a sales environment. So we're connecting with people, we're building relationships from the insurance world. We're trying to get to know them on a daily basis, right? And I think when I get my team in here, it's just helping them with the ability to uncover those needs from people, build those relationships with these people on a continual basis, and just generally get to know them in a very deep and personal level. So I think it's, I don't know, man, I think it's something that when I sit down with them and I meet with them on like monthly basis, my team, I'm like, hey, what's working? What's not working? How can we improve? What are we doing to improve? How can I help you improve? And so like, I don't know. I think it's just doing that consistently, having that consistent approach with them helps them grow and realize, hey, I can do this. I'm really good at this. Or, hey, this is an area I need to build on. And I think just me being consistent in that approach helps.
Do you think that consistency builds trust?
Yeah, I do. I think that it definitely comes down to that and them understanding that, hey, I am for you. I'm on your team. I'm with you. I want to help you be successful. And not just in here, because there's more to life than what we do in here, right? It extends hopefully to their outside, to their world and their families, and just like helping them become the best version that they can be.
I think agreed with what you just said. I think where I find a challenge in my work is I want to do all those things for the people I work with and supervise, but ultimately I'm their boss and I
Right,
can fire them. Same
right,
thing as you.
sure.
Um, so how do you discern when somebody's giving you lip service and when somebody truly wants to grow?
Yeah, I think it comes from their habits. It comes from what they're doing daily in and out of the office. And I think us being in a sales and a numbers driven environment, that comes from it as well, right? So
Mm-hmm.
obviously they're hitting certain numbers, and then they're winning on a daily basis, winning on a weekly basis in their role, and then it becomes a natural thing for them. So I think it's like, to me, I always tell them all the time, right? Like, hey, if you're struggling, you're going to struggle. That's life, right? This is sales. You're going to struggle. That's part of this, right? What are you doing to work on that, right? How can I help you, right? If their answer is nothing, I'm not doing anything, right? Okay, like, hey, let's look at that, right? Let's look at what you can do differently, right? Control, you do hear all the time, control what you can control, all right, type thing. And so I think that is something that hopefully that helps them, right? It extends that trust. It goes from there, but it's a constant process.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. That seems like a place where athletics should parallel.
sure.
And I don't know if it does of the dealing with failure piece.
Yep.
Um, because I know I did not model dealing with failure well at times when I coached you. Um,
Yeah.
but do you think there's some parallels of dealing with failure in a sport and dealing with failure in a business world? Because it's kind of a controlled, safe environment in
Sure.
the sport world,
Yep.
but it's not there if you don't get your results. You're getting fired or not feeding your family, right?
Right. It is. I mean, I think from even from sports situation, I mean, in college and things like that. Like, yeah, it comes down to playing time, and right, you've got to produce, right, and you've got to you've got to do that. You've got to from a
And if you
stats
and if
standpoint,
you and if you can't hit, you better be able to pick it, right?
right? You better be able to
Yeah,
field. You're still some
yeah.
basic something, right? So, but yeah, it's the same thing. So like you gotta, it does correlate to answer your question to and here.
Mhm.
And I think that is something that, um, I've always gravitated toward people that kind of understand that and get that. And if they don't, it's okay. Like I try to like model that of like, hey, this is gonna happen, right? Like, hey, and if I do have an athlete that works for me, hey, you've experienced this, you know what this is like, right? But I just think it is, there's got to be some statistical thing and attached to it. Um,
Yeah.
and so we look at those, right? And, we
Mhm.
try to work through that. So,
So when you look at back on your athletic days, and I mean, you played professional baseball for a year, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, hey, Pecos League. I'll tease you about that later. But
yeah.
uh, but how do you think coaches could have been done a better job of creating that transferable skill of strategies and mindsets to deal with failure, so when you get in the work world, you don't crash? Like what? Now that you're owning your own business, yeah, look back on that and what would you like to see, or how could coaches teach it better?
I think that's a great question. I think over the years, I've found that, like, even on this business, I'll just go with the 8 years, and I did other things before this, but just in the business world on this, I think it's you have to go through those failures to produce certain qualities in a human. Like they're almost like, at the time, I remember in college, like I hated it. I failed at something and I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, right? I couldn't hit a curveball to save my life, right? I mean,
I have mental images of you screaming, swinging over a breaking ball.
if it was a fastball middle away, I'm gonna hammer it,
Your
right?
money. Yeah.
Yeah. But in all reality, like I think what I've seen in my career is like as hard as it is sometimes for my team, failure is actually a good thing. Going through
Yes.
a difficult thing is actually what is required, and you really want that. You don't want to never experience that, because it's like then when you do, like you freak out, right? And it's like you don't know what to
Yeah.
do. Like it's a good thing. And so I think for me, to answer your question, is I wish I'd have known that at a younger age, right? Of like, hey,
Yeah.
man, like, no, view this as good. This isn't a bad
Yeah.
thing that you're struggling at the plate. This isn't a bad thing. You can't hit a free throw. You can't catch a pass, whatever it is, right? It's a good thing. So it's going to help you persevere. It's going to shape something in you. So one day when that time is over and you're in the working in the business world or whatever it is, and you have failure, you can lean back on that and say like, hey, what did I do then? How did it help? And then now, how can it help now? So
That actually that actually feeds into a book I'm reading now. You ever heard of Jim Collins? He wrote Good to Great.
yeah, 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 I've got that. Yeah, right there. Yeah,
Yeah, nice. So he has a new book that just came out last month,
yeah.
and I'm going to blank on what it's called. Oh, it's called What to Make of a Life.
Mm,
And oversimplifying, he studied the lives of individuals in a similar way than he did businesses in Good to Great,
mm,
and their life process, the challenges they faced, how they achieved, all that kind of stuff. Um, and he talked. He has two terms. One is cliffs, so like that major life event, you fall off a cliff,
yeah.
and fogs, where you're going through a time where it's just like, yeah, I don't know where to go with this. Almost like a, gosh, I'm continuing to be average at baseball. Do I keep playing? You know, that kind of thing.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
And one of his conclusions, he thought, is they researched all these people, and he researched them in pairs. So people that had just seemed like very similar lives. Uh, like what were the comparisons, similars, differences? And he goes, even when you didn't think they had a cliff, they did.
Mm,
And he goes, the people, and I think he even wrote, the people that tried to avoid them couldn't. So it seems like in sports, the leaning into that failure
yeah.
and teaching through it. And I I joke with, not joke. I have this feeling now, and give me your thoughts on this. Of we all want to win. I'm still embarrassed going home pissed off after like a basketball game as an AD. That's just silliness. Those losses are going to happen. Um, but we know we do all this evaluation of our programs and get student feedback and whatever. And the most valuable learning experiences and like the transferable skills kids leave with from athletics come in the hard years when a coach leads well.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, think back. I don't know what perspective I want you to come at it from, but
yeah.
it's out of the sucky experiences that the most value comes, I guess is one way I'd say it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's accurate. And I think it's, again, it's in the moment. It's always the hardest because in the moment you're trying to figure out how to get out of it. But I think, like I started looking back, it always helps. And so I try to find out like an example, but like, yeah, wins or losses are the easiest to go to. Man, you lose a game. What happened? Try to pinpoint a situation. You individually, like, I mean, in baseball, as we know, it could be one pitch, it could be one play that doesn't determine a game, but determines a moment or leads to a big inning that they might have scored no runs. Then they score 4 runs, right?
Yeah.
Because you threw a ball or you missed a cutoff or things like that. And so I think it's something that I look back and understand that again, it's shaping. Like I think
Yeah.
shaping, I think how younger people can view that, like, no, this is shaping me into the person that I'm supposed to be. Right. It sucks. It's hard. I don't want to experience it. Um, but I realize as you get older, you realize like, no, that was supposed to happen. There
Yeah.
was in there. Even if it's a game situation, right? What did that one play do for me for the next week? Like, did I, if I missed
Why
it,
were
like,
you so Why were you so scared of the ball?
right, literally, like, so, like, seriously, like, now I'm going to work on that fielding ground balls, work on if
Yeah.
it's hitting, like, I'm going to put that extra time in, and then once I see the results, I realize, oh, that was a, that was good. That ended up being good. So,
Yeah. And even if you don't see the results, I mean, just sticking with the process and going with it, I think really matters. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, but it's interesting. And I think where that gets messed up the most is coaches can't control their emotions after the game.
mm,
Um, and they make it sound like the end of the world, where it's like, hey, didn't go well today. Sometimes there's a spot to yell and
right.
there's a spot to get after guys, but I think 95% of the time after games, it's like, hey, didn't go our way, clean up the field, let's chat tomorrow. And then you get back to correction and trying to get better. Like
And I
Ryan
think,
Thompson, the coach of
yeah,
Mid America, did such a good job at that. I wasn't great at it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Coach Ryan emulated that. I feel like really well. Like sometimes I felt like, man, we just lost. I don't see a ton of emotion there, but I mean, he knew, right? Like sometimes I want him to be even more mad sometimes, right? But like, it's like, dude, we just got our brains beat out, but right. I think there's a leadership quality there that is a
Yeah.
right, like as a team, especially as a young college kid or whatever. Like, okay, there's leadership there. Like, hey, yeah, we didn't, like you said, we didn't do our best. Right. Let's pick it up. Let's clean. Let's get back at it tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow more about what happened. And I think
Yeah.
that's leadership that is admirable. Like I think that's really cool. Of like instead of being hot headed in the moment and all of a sudden like
Yeah.
man, that's out and then let's just I'm gonna yell at my team and then we're gonna go to practice tomorrow. They're gonna come in tense because they know I'm ticked off. Like, yeah, I think that works.
Yeah. And it's such a balance of, so I'm a believer in if you're a fiery person, you got to be a fiery person. You can't be something you're not.
Sure.
But knowing when to walk away from it, and do you want to be effective or you want to be right? And
Right.
especially that moment right after the game, you don't need to be right. Just get out of there.
Yeah, I mean you don't. You really don't. It's a fine line, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, those were my questions. You're the biggest fan of the pod. What else you want to talk about?
No, man, I think I love the show. I think what's really cool and something I've taken from a couple of different ones you've had, and I think really insightful of right, like even just the most recent one, right? Of the other day we're talking, it was what was the guy's name, the Timberwolves guy that you got on there?
Matt
Matt.
Moberg.
Matt said this other day, and I know this is just the most recent one in my mind. Like, what did he say? The wording, and I wrote this down. I got it right here. who you are is more important than what you do, even if what you do gets talked about more, or whatever that was,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That to me can correlate so far in life, and it can start at such a young age. It can start at, even pre-college, post-college, working on
Mhm.
all that stuff. And that's something that I think that's really cool. So when I heard him say that most recently, like, it is very true. Like, as a leader, me as a business owner, right? All that stuff is
Mhm.
great, right? As a college athlete, all that stuff is great, right? Whatever level you play at, I think that's awesome. But who you are as a person is more important. It should always overshine, right? What you actually do, whether it's a AD at a college, insurance agent, whatever it is, it should, who you are is, I think, should always outshine that. And I think that was just really cool insight from just the most recent one that you had this week. So I love that.
So agreed, but that is so hard to do.
Yes.
It's such an interesting thing. And his Matt's insight. So those that haven't heard that episode, Matt Boberg is the chaplain for the Timberwolves. Been doing it for 7 or 8 years. The Minnesota Timberwolves NBA team. He's been doing it for 7 or 8 years because a friend of his got hired. Since the friend of his got hired as a head coach, and he does a chapel kind of faith service before every home game. And the stories he shared of these guys get to the top, and then it's not what they think. So a lot of his messages are on identity, and it was fascinating to listen to him talk about that.
Yeah. I think that was very insightful. And it's just, even, yeah, from him, like, dealing with guys at the highest level that they could possibly get, right?
Mm-hmm.
The most talented dudes in the world at what they actually do, and letting them know, like, it's, even though that gets a lot of attention, but it can't change who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Um, so I love that.
Funny story. My wife listened to that episode. I asked her what she thought, and she said that Matt guy's a lot cooler than I am. That was her first response. I
Well,
said,
so cool.
"She's no, it's true." So all
Yeah.
right, let's wrap up with the rapid fire round. So
All
no
right.
longer than 30 seconds on any of these questions. You ready?
Got it.
What is one book that has greatly influenced your life and why?
Um, Good to great, Jim Collins. I will say that you said that earlier, right? That's the one that
Yeah.
I think you actually put me on that years ago. Just realizing that, how do you become that better version of yourself, right? How do
Yeah.
you get better in certain areas, right? And just extending that and just digging in with that is something that I always challenge myself on and work towards. So I love that book.
Cool. What's your favorite song?
Song? Oh man, well,
Song.
yeah. Well, I mean, I live in Nashville, so, and if you can't tell, I've got the most incredible accent on the planet.
You do.
Man, it's probably right now. I would say something like, I like Chris Stapleton, big Stapleton guy.
Okay. That's not a song. That's an artist.
I know, man, the actual song right now. You've caught me on it. Maybe, give me a Stapleton song, man. I don't know. I'll get to you at the next one.
All right, we're moving on. You're out of
All
time.
right, yeah.
How do you define success in your work?
Oh man, I think, to me, my success for me is seeing my team succeed, and seeing them, like, dig in with people, build relationships, have great conversations. Ultimately, they're protecting them with insurance and car insurance, home
Yeah.
insurance, life insurance. But to me, it's seeing them succeed. It generally brings me joy, right? Because I know at the end of the day, the business is fine. They're enjoying what they do. So I love that, to be honest.
Cool. Let's try another favorite one to see if you do better. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? It's got to be a baseball one. It's hard for me to personally beat The Sandlot.
Okay.
That's a good one for me. Kind of old school, but it's kind of what I grew up on, and probably why I love baseball. Watching that movie, to be
There
honest.
you go. All right, last one. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Mm. Belief, behavior, habits. I think for me, habits. Honestly, personally, getting my days going earlier in the mornings, has really changed my life personally. whether it be in physical, whether it be in spiritually. And just, I think for me, as I become a dad, I've only been a dad for 5 years. It's generally like realizing that my days are set based off how my mornings go. And so, it helps me become the best leader, the best that I can be, the best husband and the best dad. So early mornings help me. So.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, Hammer, any final thoughts?
I loved it, man. I appreciate you having me on. This has been great, and I'm, like I said, big fan of the show. And I appreciate what you're doing, Rob. And it's fun to watch.
Cool. Well, I'm proud of you, and thanks for coming on.
If this podcast is helpful to you, we go deeper in our weekly Substack newsletter. Subscribe at impactfulcoachingproject.substack.com. Every Monday, we share practical leadership frameworks, insights, and research for coaches, athletic directors, and leaders who want to build sustainable excellence. Link is in the episode description. It's free.